Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very
But
thankful.
we're going to start the show with more of the Warner Brothers Discovery Netflix stuff. What's the latest, Dave?
Well, I mean, it's I've read a lot, in the last 24 hours, and I mean, the thing is, and we talked about it in detail yesterday, but it's way too early to even speculate on what would happen now. The one thing I'm sure everyone got was who gets Netflix because got the email where they basically said that they're going to keep HBO Max separate. So what that means, I would say that if you're talking about like how all this affects AEW, that's almost certainly good news because the idea of AEW going to Netflix if they merge the services, I didn't think that they would have a lot of leverage going there. I mean, you never know what would happen. I mean, it's not like that's a no. But if they were to keep HBO Max separate between, unless when the split comes this summer, between WBD, the TV stations and the sports, TNT Sports and everything on one side and HBO Max on the other. If AEW is put on the TNT Sports package, that obviously changes everything. But I'm of the impression, and I know that Tony Khan has kind of talked about this, that they expect to be on HBO Max. If they're going to be on HBO Max, and they're making, they're making millions of dollars, HBO Max is off the pay-per-views, off their cut of the pay-per-views every year. It's not like a giant number, but it's still millions of dollars. So I think that they're pretty safe there, when it comes to that, if it's kept separate. Now, the fact that they are telling us it's going to be separate, they're going to tell, the regulars is going to be separate. Does that mean in 4 years or in 3 years, it's going to really be separate? I don't know, because I've seen so many things where people say we're keeping stuff separate and then the business takes over and it's kind of like, why do you need two, separate when you already own the famous one? Why do you own a number two famous one? But, for now, I think, and certainly for a little while, and I think that, part of them saying that too is perhaps it's what they mean. And perhaps by keeping it separate, they feel that they have a better chance of the merger being approved. So that's one thing. Another thing that's happened is that I guess that there's reporters who have mentioned that sources in the Trump, close to Trump, are basically saying that WBD is going to get the $5.8 billion from Netflix because it ain't going to get approved. I've also seen some interesting stories they're basically from insiders that are kind of contradictory. I mean, one version is that Netflix really doesn't expect to get it, but by doing it this way, WBD, which would be their competitor, would be weakened while all this thing goes through. They probably won't get it, but
they just delay them for a couple of years. I also heard that one.
They delay it for a couple of years. They weaken the brand, and it puts them in a stronger position when it comes to competition, even though they won't get it at the end. And it's worth $5.8 billion to them to do that. The other version on the other side, I don't know if you saw this one, Garrett, was people who think that David Zaslav pulled this great coup because by doing this the way it is, he's going to get $5.8 billion from Netflix. He's going to wind up on Paramount anyway, which he knew he would, because he would figure that the Trump administration will not allow it and will, of course, want him to go with Ellison and Paramount. He still goes to Paramount, but Paramount has to offer a lot more money than they were first offering. So those are like different things that are being spoken and everything. So everyone's thinking like, who's the master, who's the manipulator? It may not go through. Other people are saying that, like, if you the idea of avoiding a monopoly, well, if you put the Netflix and you put the HBO Max together, it's not a monopoly because there's so many other people in the streaming business. Yeah, they'd be perhaps number one in streaming.
You know how Netflix positions themselves, though, they position themselves as YouTube is the one that you need to worry about.
Yeah, because they're technically much bigger.
And what we have to compete against is not just all of these streaming services. It is the scrolling apps. It is the TikTok and the Instagram and the YouTube, the YouTube Shorts. That's how they're trying to position themselves and why they're not a monopoly.
Have you grabbed your F4WOnline.com shirt yet? Well, we got a bunch of them. They're up in the store right now. F4WOnline.com/shirts. You can grab your -5 stars shirt, your Dave Meltzer Wrestling Observer shirts, even the brand new After Dark Radio shirt. You love Granny? We have Granny's Gang shirts. Have you ever won a shoot battle royal? Probably not, but you can tell people you did. So check out the store. All of these great shirts and more. It's through Pro Wrestling Tees. F4WOnline.com/shirts. That's F4WOnline.com/shirts.